I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth rightly well. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth rightly well. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth rightly well.
Our plan was to build a country home, then have children, depending on where we'd be in the prophetic stream of time. If clear indications like the son-in-law in place, we were willing to forgo the privilege of parenting. However, God had a wiser, better plan for us. He planned that we have the baby right in the heart of town in a flat. The physical changes that had come from this experience meant I heard the noises louder. The profanity in the streets carelessly uttered, the curses, the hypnotizing sensational music that would play all day long were a constant play in my mind. Nudity and gaiety were a common sight wherever we turned our heads. Bright lights, endless car noises, and combi hoots. The warning from the Lord that, as God's commandment keeping people, we must leave the cities. As did Enoch, we must work in the cities but not dwell in them, was one that kept ringing loudly in my head. It's true that the move to the country is one that needs thorough preparation for. And in my opinion, as does all important things in life, for example, marriage needs thorough preparation, parenting needs thorough preparation for too, and food needs thorough preparation. This usually entails praying, more prayer, and earnest prayer, acting on providence as God leads, and submitting to the will of God. One must not, however, expect God's providence to be synonymous to ease and convenience. Sometimes, because we've gotten accustomed to a certain lifestyle and conveniences of modern life, we tend to feel that if the same has not been provided for and availed in the country, then the Lord has not opened a way for us to move. This cannot be further from the truth. While a few of us will be privileged to move into a fully furnished, well-gated, water-secured, and an abundance of fruit trees and thriving vegetation in the country, some, perhaps most of us, will need to step into the Jordan with the ark in our hands and acting upon God's word. The waters will part and more provision. Yes, I'm almost done. Will be given for us to have an experience of country living as God commands. Momo, I'm almost done. Therefore, if God thought I would be ready to parent in less than 8 months, notice, then surely He should have also been ready to provide in less than 6 months' notice. Of course, this is speaking retrospectively. It's true, there are some good things that I have needed to wait and wait and wait for. For this particular promise, however, I felt it was God's desire to fulfill it for me, for us, for His people, to give them a closer walk with Him. The spirit of lingering, as was found in Lot, is one that the Lord wants to remove from His people. I know of people who would care less of the harm done by their continual unnecessary staying of the families in the cities, because the son-in-law is not yet here. I too belong to this bracket. However, I feel that what could be of greater value now than our souls and those of our precious children, which have been entrusted into our care. Our intentions might be pure in staying in the cities, and so were Lot's. For upon his entry into Sodom, he hoped to keep himself, high five, he hoped to keep himself free from iniquity and command his household after him. But he signally failed. Patriarchs and Prophets, page 168. If ever there was a time when we need to obey God simply because he has commanded us so, it is now. It is time to walk with God. In choosing a home, God would have us consider first of all the moral and religious influences that will surround us and our families. I began this video with the transformation that comes when a person has a child. And I think the reason why God allows labor to be so intense, that for some people, is that he wants us to realize that we have to depend on him for everything and anything during that time and beyond. It's so easy to feel like we can be self-reliant in raising our children, or feel so overwhelmed that we can't do anything and just let things go. But we have to, moment by moment, depend on God, and that includes obeying the commandments He has given us in how we should raise our children. And so, as I look at how I survived labor, I see that it was only through the grace of God. And when we get to heaven, looking back at how we will be saved, we will realize that it will only be through the grace of God alone. When you look at the stages that come with labor, you see how much time just overtakes you, and it's intense, and that what the Lord has commanded us is actually true, that in the final days things will happen in quick succession. It's very true. It's gonna happen in that way. Initially we thought, oh, we have the whole day, like someone can have 24 hours of labor. Once things start happening, they just happen so fast. And as you get to transition stage, sometimes you feel like you're giving up, like you can't do it anymore. No, sometimes, most times, women feel as though they're giving up and they can't take it anymore. And so I was asking my husband, how come? Because we read in the Great Controversy, chapter 41, that a bow surrounds the children of God, a rainbow, right? Encircles the children of God during the time of trouble. When you get to chapter 42, the very first paragraph alludes to it. So now, I was wondering, how come during the time of trouble, why don't people see that God's presence is right there? And the pressure that comes with it. I had read in Encyclopedia of Natural Remedies that when you're in labor transition stage, a mother feels like giving up, and it's the duty of the midwife to encourage her to keep going. But when it was happening, all that head knowledge just flew out of the window. And it reminds me of how we are told that we should have an experiential knowledge of God and not just head knowledge. That is very important, because when crisis hits, when labor hits the notes, you then seem to forget. It helps that you have head knowledge to a certain degree, but it's not enough. It does not take you to the max of where you should be. So let's seek a daily experiential knowledge of God, such that when the transition comes, which is very soon, by God's grace, we are able to stand.
For God has given no commandment which cannot be obeyed by all. God has given no commandment which cannot be obeyed by all. His word offers no unreasonable or selfish restrictions. God has given no commandment which cannot be obeyed by all. For God has given no commandment which cannot be obeyed by all. God has given no commandment which cannot be obeyed by all. His word offers no unreasonable or selfish restrictions. God has given no commandment which cannot be obeyed by all. God has given no commandment which cannot be obeyed by all. God has given no commandment which cannot be obeyed by all.
There is the tortoise. Hello, tortoise. You look beautiful. Go ahead.